and welcome back to Skate Like a Pro. Today we're going to learn a beautiful trick, the buer. It's one of my favorites. It's actually named after this woman, Ina Bauer. You can look her up. Was an incredible skater, and there's a lot of moves that we have named after her in figure skating. So we're going to learn two buers today, your inner edge buers, your left, and your inner edge right buer. These are used like everywhere. You're gonna find them when you're doing that two-person spin around thing. You're basically pumping from buer to buer. They're obviously used like for beautiful moves when you're skating, but they're also great just for like going around a corner, and looking fancy at the rink or wherever it is that you skate. Also, I would say in my ramp skating, I've been using the buer quite a lot in the ramp as well. So the buer is kind of like everywhere. So we're going to talk about, first I guess I'll demo it for you. So there's, like I said, there's two buers. There's this buer in which your right foot's, going to be in front and you're leading with that leg. And then obviously there's the other side, right? We always have one and the other side. Okay, so what happens when you're doing the buer is that both of your feet are going to come in and they're going to form a circle. So they're both, obviously everything's a circle, you know that by now. But in this case, both our feet are going to be on the same circle. So in this way, it is related to the spread eagle and the mohawk turn and all that, okay? So you're both going to both your feet on the same arc, and they're going to be creating a inside edge. The difference between it and the spread eagle, I want to make sure you can see my feet. The difference between it and the spread eagle is that the spread eagle, you're going to have your feet on the exact same circle, whereas with the buer, you actually are kind of having two circles that are running parallel to each other, and this one's on the inside and this one's on the outside. I'll demo that so you can see that. See, this is on an inside circle, and this foot here is on an outside circle. But they're both drawing the same two circles together. So, with that in mind, you can actually start by practicing by putting yourself into this buer position. So, imagining a circle, putting one foot on that circle, and then the other foot on that circle. Now, I feel like I don't have to go over this too much because you should have already watched the fundamental tapes about the proper way to hold an inside edge. But you're going to find it even more so important with this one, because when you're going to have all your weight on that front leg as usual, and you're going to have, for the most part, your hip in line with your heel. Obviously, as you extend the leg out more, that center of balance is going to slightly change, but actually you're doing that allocation of weight to the other leg. So realistically, you're keeping all your weight on that front leg, okay? So you're going to have all your weight on that front leg. It's on the inner circle, and it's going to have the knee again and the foot are going to be married. They're both going to be the same angle as, of course, is going to be happening on the other foot. So there's kind of, again, this sort of extreme pulling here between the knees where they're going to both be pulling out. There is a curving under and a pulling out of the thighs. I am a little bit sticking my booty out. It's like not tucked under like this. Do you see that? It is out. It's out and on this edge here, holding that edge. Yep. The back leg is extended, very strong extension, and my hips are, although my feet are both holding that arc, my hips are not, meaning that my hips are actually going to be still square to the edge that I am getting, almost as if I was doing an outside edge, to be quite honest. It's almost like you're coming in on an outside edge with this foot, and then that foot turns you into that inner edge. Okay, cool. We'll do that right there as a practice in a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be the same from one side to the other. Again, that back foot's in like an outer circle, ever so slightly, like 6 inches to a foot. And it kind of a little bit depends on you and how much flexibility you have. When you first start doing the bower, you're gonna find yourself just kind of like baby bowering, and that's fine. You might find yourself doing what I'm doing here, which is I'm kind of bending this back knee. Eventually you want to be able to straighten both legs and really hold that inner edge. You know, the sensation that I'm feeling when doing it is this really intense turning under here and turning out. So it's like the hips are doing this motion, like that. But again, it's doing that motion while I have this leg bent. So your very first exercise, obviously, is just gonna be to try to like put yourself into this position. And I would say the best thing to do is like just to start parallel feet, put your hands like you're going to be going on an outer edge, right? Go ahead and step out and hold that leg out like as if you're on the outer edge, and then turn this foot all the way down, and then allow yourself to move to the big toe. So now you're actually like on the inner edge. Do you see that? And my knee also shifted over ever so slightly so that my knee is now on the inner edge, okay? And then lift it back up and then come back down. This is a great exercise. I'm hoping you can see all of my feet. So here we are. We have our hands in an L. We're facing the 45-degree angle, our hips, everything. We're gonna go in our brain. We're pretending we're coming in on an outside edge. Here we go, swing to the outside edge. Turn this foot, set it down. Set it down to the point that it actually forces the hips to compensate just a little bit and the knee to roll in just a little bit and holding that inside edge. Do you see that? That's the proper position for a bower, really. Okay, do the other side, same exercise. Oh, sorry. You can start in T, but you can also, I think it's better to start in parallel just because of we're playing this outer edge to inner edge game. Okay, parallel, hands in an L. Go ahead, outside edge strike. Hold that outside edge. Turn the foot. You can actually do this with the toe stop on the ground, but by now you should be able to do it holding. Turn the foot and just allow the body to compensate into this inner edge. Yeah, like that. This is the bower position. Okay, great. I love this exercise. Let's move on to like basically a similar exercise, but we're just gonna take it that next step. So here you are. You might need to do that a few more times, but you can pause the tape, you can come back next week, whatever. Here's your next step. Arms in the L, same parallel position, right? Going to the strike, twisting the foot to set it down until this knee and this hip ever so slightly compensates so that I'm now on this inside edge. From here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend this front knee and I'm gonna do this fishtail thing that you already probably have learned from doing the pivots with this foot. So with that, I'm gonna put all my weight sort of on this inside big toe, and I'm gonna push out with my inside big wheel, right? So here we go, I'm back into this position, right? Bending all my weight on the front foot and pushing with that back foot, the fishing, right? Here we are, this is my baby bower. Yeah, notice I'm keeping my hands open to the L, to the inside of the circle. So doing the same thing, again, let's start parallel, sorry. L, beautiful, striking, beautiful, turn, turn, turn until I'm on the inside edge. I'm on the inside edge. Important on the inside edge that you got all 8 wheels on the ground and that this back knee straight. When you're kind of beginning, yes, you're gonna have some bend, but eventually the goal is to have that back knee straight. Again, look how I'm in alignment from my heel all the way through my belly button, right? Everything's in alignment, hands are open to the L. All right, we're gonna try to put some motion. We're gonna push our weight into that front foot, bending the knee, and we're gonna fish that back foot, but not to the point that we lose that edge. So bend, fish, 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 bend, fish. Good, okay, awesome. Something I'm noticing that I'm doing when I'm doing that is that I'm also, when I'm bending, I'm sort of releasing my energy a little bit on my big toe, and then when I fish, I'm kind of pushing my big toe. I'm taking that moment where you'll feel that there's a moment that you have the strength to readjust that big toe and get it on the circle. So I think that that's probably something that a lot of you guys are going to be experiencing when you first start doing this, because it is, you know, we're all still working to hold that edge, you know, and so the way to correct that and the goal would be to where you don't have to do that. And in order to do that, you're really consistent here on this foot. Even when you bend the knee, you're still putting that pressure there on that big toe. Like that's what I'm thinking, big toe, right? Okay, cool, good, awesome. All right, well now let's move out and I'm gonna move into the sun and get here where I have more space. And then we're gonna just kind of move on to like more movement-based exercises. As I put on my sunglasses, it's a good moment to remind you guys to not really wear sunglasses when you're skating, especially when you're doing turns. Like today I'm just doing bowers, and so it messes with your peripheral vision, and also it could fly off and you could trip on it, or another skater could trip on it. So if you wear sunglasses, you know, you're wearing real glasses, I understand. You know, make sure that you get ones that aren't like these are super big and blocking a view. Like try to get ones that are thinner and that will stay on your head, you know, get the sports strap, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But just something to think about. I definitely was reminded yesterday when I took a fall and a spin with sunglasses. Okay, cool. So here we go, bowers. So let me give you a demo again. Here's our demo, right? And do you notice how it goes into a spiral? As everything in skating always goes into a spiral. So I start out wide, and eventually, no matter how wide I started out, it's gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller, which is kind of part of this aspect of these 2 feet. And you can see right there, and the camera says a good stop. You can really see how this is in a back circle and this is in a front circle. And do you see how I have to keep my weight forward on this leg in order to like maintain this position? There is definitely like an intense turnout here, and I think that I feel I have pretty bowers, and I think that even though I don't have the world's greatest turnout, but I think that has to do with my flexibility. Another thing that I'm doing when I'm thinking about when I'm doing the bower is a ton of energy in the back foot baby toe. You have to like really push to keep that toe down. So a ton of energy into that back toe to keep that foot down. So there's like a ton of energy to turn and hold. I'm got in my front foot, I got all my energy on this inside, almost the arch, but obviously it's the heel, but you definitely are feeling it like right here. And then the big toe, of course. And on this outside foot, I'm feeling a lot of energy really on the baby toe. Like just go for that baby toe, and that's gonna get those 4 wheels. But I also kind of, to be honest, I feel that arch here that we were talking about to do the fish. Okay, so because it is still active even though it's the back foot. You know, I think most generally in skating it seems like what you find is that the foot that you have your weight on, you know, your dominant foot for that moment, you know, is doing the weightlifting and the other foot's doing the steering. So, you know, they both are steering and they both are holding weight. But for the most part, there is that element going on. Okay, cool. So our next exercise is going to be to skate forward and to get on your inside edge and just try to step back into it. Did you see how I did that? And this might be your first bower and it's beautiful, but do it of course with proper arms. I didn't. Skating forward, right? Go ahead and start in that parallel position. You'll find it easier. Go into your inside edge with your strong L and just set that foot forward. Yeah? Okay. Now you might notice there's like a moment of adjustment for this. Here I am, both feet parallel, right? And I'm going to step into my inside edge. Right now my hips are here holding this inside edge. Watch my hips. They a little bit turn and then they adjust. Okay, do you see that? I kind of was back to the camera. They a little bit turn and then they adjust. Here I am. I want to try to do this for the camera for you guys. Here are my hips, right? Open edge, a little turn, and then an adjustment. Do you see that? So there is this moment where you're allocating that weight to the back foot. When you're switching from this true inner edge, you're setting this foot down. It does kind of, the hips move to the center, and then you bend the knee and adjust to get it deeper. So you're gonna find that happening. It's not exactly the same hip position, but what is not happening, conversely, is you're not just doing this, right? Because, well, that's a different move. That's the dip. Now you're doing the dip, right? We're holding the bower. So you can't let your hips go all the way over. They have to still maintain this front edge, and then they do adjust. They adjust. The more I bend, the more that my hips and shoulders are twisting, which is what's creating that spiral. Okay, so this is your first exercise. I'll do it on the other side. You should too if you've been doing it with me. So here we are. This side I don't like as much. In skating we always turn left, so my left Ina Bauer is beautiful, my right Ina Bauer not so great, or rather the other way around. My left, and going in this type of a right spiral I don't do very much in my life. Okay, here we go. Both feet are together. Go into your inside edge, holding that inside edge. Set the foot down, put the weight forward, right? Beautiful. You can come out into a T-stop position. You can come out into doing what I was showing earlier, where you actually end up spiraling backwards into a T-stop position. You can just step out of an Ina Bauer. That might be your best bet for, this is the first time you've tried it. So you're here on the inside edge. You set the foot down. Wow, that was scary. And then step back in to your parallel foot position. Do the other way, that one. Here we are, parallel feet position. Inside edge, sorry, stepping out. Boy, that was scary. Okay, inside edge, I made it again. Back to my feet parallel. Okay, great. So now that you've got that variation, we're gonna like take a step back and we're gonna practice doing holding this edge. And like I can actually already feel this here in my inner groin, and you know I do these all the time, but not like this many times in a row. So you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel, and you have to like work and strengthen these hip flexor and inner groin muscles. Okay, so your practice now is gonna be basically what I kind of demonstrated earlier, where you're just kind of gonna go into this fishy position and kind of try to do a circle. So this is my goal, and I think the best bet for this goal is to actually not having the hands in the L. We want to have our hands here in the forward, but don't do it to where you're leaning this way. You want to keep your body, your hips stacked over your shoulders, and you're going to have both your hands doing this action right here. Do you see how they're completely parallel? Okay, so in this exercise that we're doing, we're kind of like actually going from, let's see, I should do my strong way. We're actually kind of going from this Ina Bauer to this Ina Bauer, right? Which they're the same Ina Bauer, I think, I don't know. This is where I left artistic skating. But, you know, it's the same inner edge. You're basically doing that. So I'm kind of teaching you four different variations. This one's harder to hold. But you're basically doing that. So you're going from this inner edge to this. So you're basically flipping which knee you have bent, and conversely you're letting your hips, do you see how my hips are going side to side like this? And I'm doing my best, with the exception of the pump, to keep all 8 wheels on the ground. There is that moment where I'm pumping where one wheel comes up, right? No, I think actually I'm keeping all my wheels on the ground. All right, and then again, we want to put our hands like this, and we're pumping, and we're not leaning forward, we're staying back. Okay, good, this is good. Obviously, you want to do this the other way. This is the way I never do it personally, because we don't use this professionally in the circus act that I do, but I'll do my best. There we go, good. Whew. That one got me dizzy. Okay, so you want to practice those. Again, and I know I said this twice, but I'm going to say it again. It's important when you're doing this that you don't let your shoulders go forward, because you're going to want to do this, and I see this a lot when I see girls like doing the 2-hand thing, this thing. You don't want to be like this. You also don't want to have your arms bent like this. You want to have your arms strong, and you're actually leaning back against that other person. And it's kind of the same here. You have to lean back against that force that's pushing on you. Okay, cool. So we've done all that. I think I have one more exercise in mind for you, and that's just kind of basically doing it. So you're going to just skate, 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 normal, right? You don't even really have to have cross pulls yet, but you know, you're just striking, and just do it all at once. Step, step. Yes? Step, step. I'll go ahead and teach you these arms I'm doing. It's just a variation of the L. My front arm's still staying in the L. My front arm's still tracing the circle, but I'm just raising this arm up so that it stays in line with my axis. Guess I'll do the other one. See, okay, the plan's just to skate in. So we're just skating in, normal, normal, right? As soon as we hit that inside edge, we're just gonna go right into it. You almost even, oh, now I switched the arms. You can see, there's a lot of arms that are proper with the bower. You can almost even just slide into it. So maybe that's before you do the step. Maybe you're just sliding into it, meaning here I am, I'm skating, I'm skating, I'm skating. And I'm just gonna roll this foot out and into it. I'll do it overhead for you for that. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first variation where you're just gonna turn the foot. So let's see, I'm skating, and I roll the foot into the bower. I hope you could see that, all right? I'm gonna do the other way. Here we go. So I'm skating, I'm gonna roll the foot into the bower. So what's happening with that back foot is I'm going here, I'm going into the strike position, and then it's spiraling into the inside edge. And when you're doing it with more motion, it's gonna look like that. Do you see it? That spiral. Okay, cool. Once you've mastered that variation, then you're gonna just go ahead and do like the big mama step version, where you skate and you skate, inside edge to step, right? Inside edge to step. Do it again. I know that shadow's long. I'm trying to keep it out of my feet for you. So I'm skating, skating, inside edge right into it, yeah? Okay, cool. I hope that helps. Okay, wonderful. So now that you've seen the feet and you kind of have the idea of those two variations and what's happening and the goal, I just want to end it with like a little bit of like sort of finesse talk about it. So again, you can try to do that version where you're going from the bower to this like pretty inner edge thing. You obviously can go from a bower into a dip, right? I'm going to do a different tutorial for dip. At least I wrote down that I was. I'm going to do it for you. So, you know, and that's a real pretty thing to do. Super easy, bower, dip. I'm just changing my weight. You can also really work on getting deeper bowers. So, meaning you can kind of, you know, you're starting here, you're like, wow, I have this beautiful bower, you know, but then you can work to really deepen your bower, right? You'll notice the spiral gets tighter when I do that, especially dependent on your hip flexibility. What's another variation? You can definitely come to the bower backwards. See, you could be skating backwards. Here I am doing my beautiful cross pulls. And instead of coming off the front leg, I can come off that back leg, see, like this, and step into it. In some ways, that variation's a little bit easier. So let's see, I'll do the other side. I'm skating backwards. I'm gonna step off this back foot and into the inside edge of this foot, yeah? And there's definitely like, you're doing an edge change there. Because you're here, you're on this backwards edge. Oops, I'm sorry, I almost did it wrong. You're here, you're on this backwards edge. Here, now you're moving into this frontwards edge, right? That's a totally fine way to do it too. So it's really up to you. Maybe I'll show you the feet of that one as the end of this session. But I feel good about this. That's your bower. If I think of anything else to amend to this tutorial, I will add it after I show you the feet for that entrance coming through the back. All right, you got a lot to practice, so practice, practice, and don't forget to stretch. Probably your hips this time. Okay. Here we are backwards for the feet in the bower. So I'm going to turn around backwards. So here I am, I'm skating backwards. I've got my weight on this back edge here, this back outside edge. I'm going to do a transfer to this inside edge and then a transfer to this forward inside edge. Do you see that? I'll do that again one more time. Here I am, I'm skating backwards. All my weight's on this back outer edge, transfer to this inner edge, and then I put this foot down to this inner edge, yeah? I'll do the other way for you. Here we are, skating backwards. I'm gonna do it faster. Here I am, I'm skating backwards, and inner edge to inner edge, yeah? It's like a 3-weight transfer.